about Ann Hughes. I tried again to do a little bit of research on her. This piece is called Twister, Pastel. It's just, again, this really, I think, whimsical piece, almost of these cartoonish kind of images. But you can see you have a tornado, a twister here. And it does seem to be a little bit of a commentary on this idea that I think the Midwest is stereotyped by, you know, certain kind of emblems like the twister. If you think about the Wizard of Oz, the fact that in a lot of people's minds the Midwest is going to be completely equated with, you know, like the Wizard of Oz and you know, like tornadoes and twisters.
Didn't Thomas Foley do?
Yes. Yeah, and John Stewart Curry also did a really dramatic image of a tornado coming through the Midwest. Is that what you're thinking of, Mary Lee?
No, it's not the last one you mentioned, the first.
Thomas Hart Benton.
Yeah, I think so.
And Curry also did a tornado. Yeah.
I mean, it was taught at Knox.
Yeah.
That was one of our little treasures.
So I'm not saying the tornadoes, that they don't have any kind of real meaning in the Midwest, but I think they have become a little bit of an iconic kind of cliche, a little bit. And I don't know. I feel like she's maybe commenting on that. And the other thing that's going on here, there's kind of a mushroom cloud, maybe a reference of a kind of mushroom cloud. Does anybody have an idea what that might be referred to? The fact that there might be kind of a mushroom cloud Midwest? Larry?
Well, I mean, we're all under a potential mushroom cloud.
Well, and Larry, we're maybe even more than other places. You know, the Midwest is filled with missile silos.
And this community in which we
Yeah.
live, Galesburg is supposed to be the second target on the Soviet hit list.
Why?
Because of
the railroad?
Yes. The
Wow.
second target.
Wow, that is really, really interesting. Well, you know, it sort of reminds me of the Allied bombing. I lived in Frankfurt, Germany as a teenager. Our Allied bombers decimated Frankfurt because it was the train hub. It still is. But it's, yeah, the same thing. Yeah, wow, that's really fascinating. But so anyway, so this idea, Mary Lee, the Midwest is full of missile silos. In fact, you guys remember there was a TV movie in the early '80s called The Day After, and it was about a nuclear attack on Lawrence, Kansas, where I was a student at University of Kansas. And I had friends that ended up being extras in the movie. I had started grad school by that point. But again, it was this idea of, like, you know, nuclear devastation in the Midwest. But then, so where I'm going with this, and I have to admit, this morning I was sitting there with my coffee, just coming up with some ideas, and I think she's playing with some interesting ideas. This whole idea of maybe contrasting destructive forces of nature with human destruction, human military destruction, playing with those ideas. And then also, too, the idea that the Midwest is this, you know, sleepy little place cut off from the world. Well, no, when you think about it, the fact that we have these missile silos, and as you said, Galesburg is the second major target.
And the Mississippi River.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, no, we're not sleepy and just kind of pushed away. We are at the center of global politics. It just really changes your whole perception of what is the identity and role of the Midwest within a global stage. And so I just think the painting, if it looks kind of funny and whimsical, it actually might be dealing with some really serious, kind of deeper issues. So I just think, I don't know if anybody has anything to say about that. But
Well, the funnel looks like water, but here the water's going up.
Yeah.
I think for a small work, it has a lot of energy. You know, you really feel all these. It's not just the center, but the way it's constructed.
Yeah, Harlow, it's a really interesting piece. You know what? I don't know, Mary Lee, just kind of abstract patterning. It might have more of a reference. I'm not quite sure.
Do you get anything there?
Yeah, like I said, you know, this could be like the opening of a missile silo. I don't know. But I'm not quite sure, you know, all of the references. But yeah, it's interesting. You know, some of this more kind of comical imagery, this sort of, you know, very exaggerated, almost sort of comic imagery, reminds me of like the Harry Who, you know, the Chicago School, Jim Nutt, Roger Brown. So I don't know, there could be a kind of connection with that too. The last piece I was going to talk about, and you know what, there's a lot of people here that knew Claire, so please speak up. And wasn't going to talk so much about the work, but more about Claire. I don't know if people, or is anybody here not aware of Claire Smith? Is it, oh, you're not, okay. Yeah, so she really is someone everybody should know about. So Claire was a local artist. When did Claire pass away?
About 10 years, 15 years
ago. Yeah. I had, again, the pleasure of meeting Claire before she passed away, or honor of meeting Claire before she passed away. Really interesting artist. She was, again, a local artist. She and her husband had a local farm. And I think, Tom, at the age of 64, 65, she went to Knox and got a double major in French and art. And Knox has a program in Besançon, France. And Claire went and did a study abroad in Besançon. And as I said, she also was an art student. So she combined the French language and the art. And what Claire did was, in I think about 74, she went to Giric, France, and studied with Dottie Verts, who was a famous printmaker artist. Well, Verts was actually a student of an even more famous printmaker by the name of Stanley William Hayter. Hayter was an English artist. He was related to the Surrealist movement, the Abstract Expressionist movement. And Hayter had a very famous print studio in Paris, beginning I think in the 20s, 30s, or maybe more 30s, 40s. And anyway, very famous artists did prints in his studio. Picasso, Moreau, made prints in Hayter's studio. World War II, Hayter fled Europe, like a lot of European artists. Fled Europe, came to New York City, and his studio in Paris was called Atelier 17. And he set up Atelier 17 in New York during World War II. And a lot of very famous American artists learned printmaking at his studio. Jackson Pollock, de Kooning. Yeah, did prints at Hayter's studio. So after the war, he went back to Paris and set up Atelier 17 back in Paris. Well, Claire ended up studying printmaking at Atelier 17 with Hayter. And so just fascinating, again, her connection to these famous artists, this famous printmaker. And in fact, Hayter developed a really experimental technique called viscosity printing, which was almost like a form of monotype printing, but with etching process. And Claire actually was one of the major artists that helped really kind of expand the possibilities of viscosity printing. Now this is I believe, looks like it might be etching or maybe aquatint or sugar lift. I'm not quite sure. There is some tone in there. It could be. Maybe, what do you think?
Well, you can see the plate marks.
Yeah, so this is intaglio etching.
Plates too.
Yeah, etching, but it looks like it might be a little bit aquatint or something. So this isn't viscosity printing. But what's just really fascinating is, Claire was connected to, these really important artists, this Atelier 17. And in fact, there's a scholar right now doing a book on the women artists of Atelier 17. Which included, Louise Bourgeois, Louise Nevelson, and Hayter, in fact, really encouraged women artists. The idea that women could be important professional artists. So there's a scholar writing a book on women artists in Atelier 17, and in fact, I think we need to do a show on Claire and again the American students of Hayter. But and so the work here, this is Paris, Tokyo, via Galesburg. So the reason I kind of was showing this is this idea that, I just think, so for example, I went to Rutgers in New Jersey for grad school, and when I moved out here I had friends, I had a friend, I remember I was emailing a friend, and said, well, Greg, how is it in Indiana? I said, I'm not in Indiana, I'm in Illinois, and she said, what's the difference? It's one of those I states or something. And so I do think, I hate to say it, the East Coast is just really, really biased, and I think Claire's a good example of that Midwestern artists are connected to a really vibrant international arts community. And the Midwestern art has really been enriched by its connection to major movements, major artists. And I'm gonna close, I think I'm gonna close on that, but yeah, but
I was
Tom,
gonna say,
and Tom and
Greg,
Paulette, yeah, please.
I was gonna say about Claire. It's
Yeah.
important to understand that she wasn't just from a farm family. That's not.
Well, that's true,
No,
that's
no,
true,
that's
that's
not
true. She actually was an educator.
Well, no,
wasn't
but her husband was a major farmer.
Okay.
You know the
okay.
Blue Harbor stores? You know what I mean by Blue Harbor store? If you look at a Blue Harbor store, it says O.N. Smith on it.
Oh, okay.
Every Blue
Yeah.
Harbor
Oh, yeah.
store you see around
Yeah.
here were built by her
Yeah.
husband.
Yeah.
Her husband
Yeah.
had a
Well.
phone in his car.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah, this was in '64. I rode in his car. He had a phone in his car.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he was
yeah,
a really powerful
yeah,
man.
yeah.
One of the biggest farmers in the area.
Yeah, no, Tom, that's good. I do think
So,
there's a
yeah,
little bit of
so-
a myth around Claire as like a simple farming wife
Yeah.
turned artist.
Right.
You're correcting that, and I think that's good.
Just that she was from a really major family, and
Yeah,
and she
yeah,
had
yeah.
a lot of power behind her. Well,
Yeah.
her husband
Yeah.
was very wealthy.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
yeah.
that's also why she raised
So-
her family. But also it's a little bit
Yeah.
like you talk about the regionalism.
Yeah.
I mean, she was very much connected to the
Yeah.
ground because the
Yeah.
ground is what
Right,
made
yeah.
her.
And a lot of her work,
family.
a lot of her work, speaks to that, that connection and everything.
What was
yeah,
her,
yeah.
well, who were her parents?
I don't know her. I don't know her
Sorry.
parents. I don't know her parents.
I'm sorry, what was the
Okay.
question,
Just-
Lee? I'm sorry.
Who
Who
her
were her
parents were.
parents?
And
Yeah, I don't know, I don't really know.
That's a great
She's from
question.
Ohio originally, I
Yeah,
believe.
that is.
Oh.
Why did she come
Oh,
here?
that's interesting. Oh, yeah.
Did you know her, Mary Lee?
No, but people from the south, my father's family, and some of our neighbors,
Yeah.
left Virginia.
Yeah.
And they went to Ohio first, and they hung around for a while.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, she's originally from Ohio.
Just as Lincoln hung around in Indiana for a while.
Paulette, what were you gonna say? You knew Claire, yeah.
Right, and I'm surprised you don't have one of her landscaping.
Yeah,
She does
yeah.
farm implements.
Yeah, I just, you know what, I wanted this to be a token of I think Tom's point, that we need to get over this idea of Midwestern artists as being just these kind of, just these regional, localized people.
Well, it's very Japanesey.
Well, yeah.
From-
and
especially
It says Tokyo right in it,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. There's like a fan, almost like a fan design here, yeah. So you know what,
It's Shimon.
I'm done.